Unit 8. Listening Part 2. Exercise 2.
So, I'm going to tell you about my dad's 10 minutes of fame. It was when he starred on a TV show a few years ago, and it happened like this. The family had a small shop just round the corner from where we live, and one day my aunt was working there on her own when a TV producer just happened to walk in and ask her if she'd like to take part in this quiz show called The Big Question. That was a big show, you remember, when we were small kids. I suppose he thought she'd look good on TV, sort of photogenic. Anyway, when she was asked, she just refused to even consider it. She said she was afraid she'd get so nervous that she'd be unable to say a word when a question came to her. My elder sister, who was only 11 at the time, told her she should go because it was the chance of a lifetime. But no one could say anything that'd make her change her mind. Just by chance, at that moment, my dad walked in. Well, he saw his opportunity and offered to go on the show himself. Anyway, the producer agreed, and a couple of weeks later, my father took a hired car, because ours was very old, and he drove to the TV studios. I don't think he trusted the trains to arrive on time, but I reckon there must have been quite a chance he'd get stuck in traffic. You know what it's like round London. Well, anyway, when he got there, he suddenly realised that he'd left his tie behind, so he had to ask the producer if they'd got a spare one at the studio he could borrow. Anyway, he was told he didn't need one, or a jacket for that matter either. Oh, and I forgot to say, he didn't really study for the show, you know, by reading encyclopedias and so on. In fact, I don't think we've ever had an encyclopedia in the house, though I did suggest buying one for the occasion. I suppose he could have gone online, but as far as I know, he didn't. He told me later that the only thing he'd done was what he always did in the evening, which was read the popular press that we hadn't sold during the day and pick up lots of trivial facts. Anyway, later what he told me was that before the show, he stood around with the other participants in somewhere called the Green Room, where they chatted to each other and were given something to eat and drink, and they got to know each other a bit. My dad felt a bit intimidated, I think, because the other competitors seemed very confident and looked really keen. My dad was expecting them to be doctors or lawyers or something, but in fact, although one of the women really was a university lecturer, the others were a bus driver and somebody who worked in a bank, so quite a mixture. When the show started, I think my dad felt quite lucky and very surprised to be able to answer his questions, which were all about general knowledge and nothing too specialist, because he actually managed to win. Anyway, he did the show, which was recorded, and all of us were longing to see him in it, especially as we knew he'd won. We thought it'd be broadcast like the following week, so it'd be really up to date, but in fact, it came on nearly 2 months later, and we almost missed it, because we'd almost forgotten about it by then. But it was good, because for weeks after, people were stopping my dad in the street and saying, "Didn't I see you on The Big Question?" Finally, though, my dad didn't become a millionaire or come home in a sports car, unfortunately. But he did win a big television with a wide screen. We've still got it at home, and it's great for the football. And a big fluffy elephant, which he gave to me. They were pretty impressive prizes for us then. Well, for me, because I was still quite small. So, that was my dad's 10 minutes of fame. I wonder what mine'll be.
Unit 8. Speaking Part 4. Exercise 1.
Do you think schools should teach subjects such as dance, drama or music?
Well, I think generally speaking, schools should teach these subjects to small children, so that they can find out if they like them. I think these subjects help children to learn how to express themselves. But I don't think generally it's so important for older children or teenagers to do these subjects because they tend to have lots of other things to study. So, on the whole, I guess these subjects should be voluntary, not compulsory, as children get older.
Peter, do you agree with Antonia?
Generally, yes, but I feel it's a pity when students don't have time for the subjects they enjoy.